All right, thank you so much for joining me in this video lecture. This is Gurpal Singh from Gursar Education. Once again, we are here with a new lecture in the series of international business and business environment. We have already talked and covered a lot of syllabus regarding these subjects. Okay, so in this video lecture, this is the extension of the previous one. I am going to teach you regarding FDI and FIIs. So we shall be talking about foreign direct investment and foreign institutional investors and multinational companies as well. I shall teach you how the foreign direct investment comes to a specific country. I shall tell you what's the meaning of that, what is its relevance and why this is important for us to study. And after that, obviously, we shall be talking about in detail the types of FDIs. In the same way, we shall be talking about the financial institution investors and multinational companies as well. So this is going to be the complete structure of this video lecture. In this way, we shall be talking about these things. I hope you would have got the idea what the different kinds of questions which we are going to answer in this video lecture. So now I'm just going to share the screen, and I must tell you that it would be beneficial for you to see this video lecture only if you have gone through from the previous lectures. Okay, so I hope you would have already gone through. So this is why I'm just going to share the screen and I'm going to show you what is there for us to study. So just see and enjoy lecture. So we are going to cover in this video lecture regarding foreign domestic investment, FDI. Okay, so what happens here in this case, why we have to study this lecture right now? Because we have already gone through from so many lectures regarding business environment and international business. In international business, I have already taught you regarding the theoretical basis of that, and after that we have gone through from globalization as well, and recently we have covered the topic regarding balance of payment. In the same way, I have taught you that we must be thinking about import and exports in context of international trade. Okay, so now this is going to be regarding investment. Okay, so the investment, the capital is required for opening any kind of a business, and that need the extensive investment. Sometimes you don't have the investment, sometimes you don't have money. Then what you can do, you can just take loan, or you can just make partners in your business. And when we talk about the business which is going to have its expansions not restricted to the boundaries of the countries only, but it shall have its extension outside the boundaries as well. Like you are going to start the business of import and export, or you are simply going to make a product which can have its demand in foreign countries as well. In that case, you require a lot of funds, and sometimes these funds are not going to be covered with just one or two partners or a joint stock company as well. In that case, you need the support of the players or the partners residing in other countries than yours. Okay, so when they pay you money, okay, here is you, and you are sitting in India, and here is your friend, or it can be anyone, it can be your partner. He is sitting in Canada, and he is just investing money in your business along with you, being your partner. Then they are investing money, that we can simply say that whatever the investment comes from outside our country's boundaries, that is ultimately known as FDI. Okay, this is FDA, and this FDA is used for making the production of goods and services, so that these can be exported around the world. So this is all about that. This is about FDI. Okay, so what do we mean by FDA? Foreign direct investment. Okay, foreign direct investment in domestic arena. This happens. Okay, so if I am I am in India, then whatever the investment I shall be receiving from government point of view, it shall be known as foreign direct investment, but that is from my domesticity's point of view. Okay, so its original name is foreign direct investment. So FDI is an investment made by a company or entirely based in one country into a company or entirely based in another country. So when a company, though, so we have to understand this from company's point of view, although I have taught you from an individual's point of view. So when a company makes it in investment into some business ventures which are residing in some other country, that kind of investment is known as a foreign direct investment. So FDI is largest source of external financing, because I have already taught you sometime your funds are not sufficiently enough that your business can be started. So in that case, you need FDI. At present, inward stock of FDI amounts to 1/3 of developing countries' gross domestic product, compared to merely 10% in 1980. Okay, nowadays there is the great level of inflow of FDI. You can just imagine from this line given. Okay, so around 1/3 of developing countries gross domestic product is equal to whatever the FDI is flow, FDI flows is there around the world. And obviously, very obvious why we are teaching you this specific particular topic, for the reason that we have to cover the theories and the different types of foreign direct investment. So from theoretical basis, you can simply understand that why there is the need of foreign domestic direct investment. So I have already taught you regarding the international trade theories, in which I have taught you that why the international trade occurs. In the similar way, we have to understand why the foreign direct investment is made, why FDI is made. So when we make the FDI or foreign direct investment, so it should have a sound reason as to why these things are being done, why we are giving our money to some companies residing in some other country. Okay, why we are giving our money. Okay, so just to justify this answer, there have been some of the theoretical basis. These explains you how and why the foreign direct investment is made up. Okay, so one by one we shall be explaining you all the theories. The first theory is capital arbitrage theory. Okay, so you know that when you make the investment, you get some kind of return. This is very obvious. If even if you invest in uh, um, fixed deposit or recurrent deposit or mutual funds or share market or in any source of finance, if you invest the money, you get some kind of return. Okay, so you get the return upon the investment you have made. Sometime you get more return for the investment you make in foreign countries. Okay, sometime you get more return, and that difference of return is known as capital arbitrage. For that reason you can make the investment. So this is all about that. So okay, so capital is likely to be attracted to market that offer higher returns as long as the difference in interest rate or prices between the market. So wherever there is the high return status level, then you can easily invest in there. These kind of things. This was the first reason why FDI was started around the world. The second is market imperfection theory. Sometimes market is imperfect. Okay, so there are some factors that inhibit market from working perfectly, and these factors are known as market imperfection. I'm going to tell you some examples of that. The first, we can say government policies like import restrictions, quotas, incentive on exports, FDI tax regimes, then a restrictions on FDI, then government's participation in trade. These are some example of a government interventions, and these create the market imperfections. So what happens in order to access a restrictive market? So if when you wish that you want to enter in the restrictive market, then FDI is the best option. FDI is often employed as a strategic tool for international business expansion. So in these kind of situation, you can see that before 1992, India had the policy of import substitution, okay, or import restrictions. So when it opened up, so it opened up in the way that it just allowed the FDA to enter into our market. So just to kill the market imperfections, FDA is the best option. So this is the next theory which tells that the FDA is often employed as a strategic tool for international market expansion. So it bypasses all the trade restrictions and market imperfections. So this is all about that. So the first was capital arbitrage and the second is market imperfection theory. We can simply say that before 1992, our Indian market was completely imperfect, and now we have allowed the FDI. This has played the role of a major tool which can uh, which can help any country to grow. So now what we have to do, this is the next theory. This is internalization theory. So what does it say? When a firm expands internationally in order to exploit specific advantage, this is known as internalization theory. Like the company of McDonald, we can say the McDonald, or we can say Apple, or we can say any company which is the MNC. First it grew in their domestic market, and after that they felt that now we have to expand our market to other countries as well. So the best option is FDI, foreign direct investment. Okay, so this is known as the internalization theory, in which some companies try to exploit their specific advantage around the world. So this was the third one. The fourth is monopolistic advantage theory. What is there? There are some MNEs who believe that they can get monopoly advantage over some products if they make investment in some other countries. So this also becomes some of the reason. Okay, so this also becomes the reason of why the FDI flows. So MNA is believed to possess monopolistic advantage. So it enables it to operate overseas more profitably. So it can happen that some companies which do not grow well in their domestic atmosphere, they can get the monopoly if they make their investment in outside uh, their country. So this can also be the reason why the countries accept or do FDI investment. So this is also one of the reason why the FDA occurs. The next is international product life cycle theory. I've taught you many times. Okay, so that was given by Raymond Werner. So he told that sometime when the product is in its initial stages, after that it grows, after that it reaches to the stage of maturity, then decline. Maybe that's at some of the stages it do well, it do generate greater demand than our domestic market, okay, in some other countries. So it's the possibility that in different life cycles that the product has to be offered in a different market. So this is also the reason why FDI is needed for making available those products. Okay, so product life cycle is also the theory which tells why the FDI is a necessary and how it can be done. After that, there is eclectic theory. Okay, so this theory is the blend of all the theories. Okay, eclectic theories, or OLI paradigm, is the blend of macroeconomic theory of international trade, this is L, and microeconomic theories of the firm. So this take into account the macroeconomic and microeconomic factors as well. Microeconomics are related to specific firm only. Okay, as suggested by this theory, the extent and pattern or FDA are determined by the combination of three factors. So as per this theory, first of all, this theory is the sum up of macro factors and micro factors. Micro factors are related to specific firm, and macro level factors are
the factors like which are controlled by the government, okay, government or the international forces. So this theory tells that how much FDI flow should be there, that depends upon three factors. So the first factor is the O factor. O factor is ownership factor. For the investing firm to be profitable overseas, it needs to possess core competencies or specific advantage. Okay, so this is the ownership factor. You must have the core competency and specific advantage. Only then it is profitable to make foreign direct investment. The second is L factor. This is the location factor. You must have the locational advantage as well. You must produce or you must set up your plant at the location wherever you can easily enjoy the economies of scale. And the last is I factor. This is internalization factor. This factor explains the entry mode to access the international market. If you have the best entry mode, okay, if you have easy entry mode like automatic entry mode, then you can easily enter into any market. So these three factors, OLI, okay, so ownership, location, and internalization factor, these ultimately determine the flow of a foreign domestic investment into a specific company, as suggested by eclectic theory of foreign direct investment. This was all about that, I think. So now I think this was all the detail regarding theories of foreign direct investment. I have taught you everything needed regarding the theories. Okay, now the most important thing we have to go through, this is going to be related to the types of foreign direct investment. So when we talk about the conclusion of the theories, we have talked about the capital arbitrage theory, and after that we have talked about internalization theory, then monopolistic advantage, international product life cycle theory, then eclectic theory as well. Now I'm going to teach you regarding what are the different kinds of foreign direct investment. One or two times the questions regarding these have also been asked. So what we have to understand, we have to understand the types of foreign direct investment on the basis of different um, different major points. Okay, like on the basis of a direction of investment, there can be the further bifurcation of FDI. So when we talk about the direction of investment, the FDI can be bifurcated into two classification. I think the first is inward FDI. Okay, so when foreign firms taking control over domestic investment, this is not termed as inward FDI. Like we are in India, and some United States companies investing in India, so that they are taking the control over the overall domestic asset, that shall be named as inward FDI. In the same way, if we make the investment outside India, like India is investing in a United States, and we are investing in a way that we are getting the control of a foreign asset, so that shall be considered to be the part of outward FDI. So we can easily say that on the basis of a direction of investment, this can be inward or this can be outward. So in this way we can make that. So next is on the basis of a types of activity. Now I'm going to see that on how many classifications can be made for the FDI on the basis of a types of activity. So the first can be horizontal. Okay, the first kind of FDI can be horizontal. What is that? When a firm investment in a foreign country in a similar production activity, like in your home country, you were manufacturing shoes, you are making investment in the similar kind of industry in a foreign market, shoemaking industry. So if you are going to make the investment for the similar production activity carried out in your home country, this is known as horizontal FDI or foreign direct investment. So this is horizontal FDI. Then vertical FDI. So this is when you make the investment in operations different than yours. Okay, so direct investment in industries abroad, so as to either provide input for firms domestic operation or sell your output domestic. Domestic output overseas is terms as vertical FDI. Like you are manufacturing, again, I'm taking the same example. You are making the investment in shoes, but you are giving the FDI to other countries for marketing purpose, so that your shoes can be sold in markets other than your own home country's market. Okay, these can be marketing activity, these can be selling activity, or these can be merchandising or any kind of consignment activities. So you are making the FDI just for the purpose of making available the market for your product. So that kind of FDI shall be known as vertical FDI. Then there is backward vertical FDI. Okay, so what is that? So you are going to make products, you are going to make products. Okay, you are going to do production, and you are going to set up a manufacturing industry in your home country. But for your home country, you need some kind of raw material, and these raw material are not available in your country. So what you do, you set up a plant to manufacture raw materials. You just investment, you just make the investment, you just do foreign direct investment, so that you can obtain the raw material or input, so that it can be helped in the production processes. So direct investment overseas aimed at providing inputs for the firm's production processes in the home country, that is termed as backward vertical FDI. So the forward vertical FDI, what does it? Okay, so this is just, I have already given you example. You have already produced something and you have already sold in your home market. Now wishes to sell it to the foreign market. Then what you do, you just make the foreign direct investment in some other countries, so that you can grab the market, you can just grab the demand of the market, and you can sell your output there as well. So direct investment in foreign country aimed to sell the output of a firm's domestic production, that is known as a forward vertical foreign direct investment. The next is a conglomerate FDI. So when you make the direct investment overseas aimed at manufacturing products not manufactured by the firm in the home country. Okay, so here you are making the shoes in your home country, but you are making the FDI in some other country to manufacture or to make clothes as well. So that kind of FDI shall be known as a conglomerate FDI. Okay, so this is completely different to whatever the business you are doing right now in your home country. Then this is the next classification. I think this is FDI on the basis of investment objectives. On the basis of investment objectives, I think there are some kind of FDIs we are going to go through. The first is a resource seeking FDI, resource seeking foreign direct investment. So in order to gain privileged access to resources, like resources, these can be like mineral resources, these can be water resources, these can be any other resources, soil resources. So these can be anything, just for the sake of exploiting or getting privileged access to these resources, you just do some kind of FDI. So that FDI is known as resource seeking FDI. So in order to gain privileged access to resources vis-a-vis competitors, MNEs invest in countries with availability of natural resources. This is about that. Then this is market seeking FDI. MNEs invest in countries with a sizable market, like India is a big market, China is a big market. So so these companies invest in countries where there is a sizable market and growth opportunities, so that we can protect the existing markets. Okay, and we can just preclude our rivals and potential rivals from gaining new market. We just make the investment so that we can get this sizable market and we can generate the demand for our product. So this is how the things are done. Then this is efficiency seeking FDI. So what happens here? A firm may strategically opt for efficiency seeking FDI. So, okay. So what is that? As a part of regional global production, Sometime what happens, you can just take the example of United States. You know that more than 70%, 60, more than 60% of the IT exports in India are done from Bengaluru, Karnataka's capital. Okay, so what happens there? United States of America, they just put investment in those youth who are efficient in using the information technology. Okay, so that kind of investment where you seek to gain larger efficiency, that kind of investment is known as foreign direct investment for seeking of your greater efficiency. Then I think this is the next classification. This is FDI, explanation of FDI on the basis of entry modes, how you enter to the host market. So the first is a greenfield investment. Greenfield investment. Okay, so what is this? Investment in creation of new facility or expansion of existing facilities. Like you open new warehouses, you try to open a new retail shops. Okay, you try to open a new franchisees. You try to open new joint ventures. For all these things, this is known as greenfield investment, where you try to create new facility or you try to expand the existing facilities, and that kind of FDI shall be known as greenfield investment. And the next one, I think this is the last one, this is known as mergers and acquisitions. Mergers are the case when two companies merge, okay, and they just form a new company. They just form a new company and which take over all the business of two companies. So this is done only for just getting higher efficiency and getting more resources. And in case of acquisition, one big company just purchases the smaller companies so that it can include their business as well into the business of their own. So merger and acquisition are both aspects of a strategic management, corporate finance and management dealing, and that relates with the buying, selling and dividing and combining of different companies and similar entities that can help an enterprise grow rapidly in its sector or location or a new field or new location without creating a subsidiary. Because in case of a merger or acquisition, you do not create any kind of subsidiary. You just the previous companies just finishes up and they turns into a new company. Okay, so that happens. So an acquisition, sometime acquisition is a hostile acquisition, hostile takeover as well, because some big companies do not let the revenue generation on for some smaller companies. This is known as hostile takeover. Acquisition sometimes may be termed as hostile takeover when it is resisted by the target firm's management and board of directors. So such kind of a takeover attempts are strongly resisted by target firms. In order to prevent the acquiring firm from such takeovers, the target firm often sometimes resort to the use of poison pills. How these are used? Poison pills simply means you increase the cost of negative items as a strategic option. Sometimes you try to inflate the prices of your assets or prices of some of the other things, like you try to increase your debts in the way so that the new companies do not wish to invest in your country. These kind of actions are known as use of poison pills. So I hope you have got the idea regarding all the types of FDI. Okay, so I think this is also the part we can also cover that. So on the basis of sectors, FDI can further be bifurcated. Okay, so this is the next bifurcation. This is industrial FD. When you make the investment only in manufacturing sector, this is termed as industrial FDI. But when this is in a service sector, like in insurance, in banking, in finances, so in these kind of a sector, this is known as non-industrial FDI. So if this is for manufacturing, then this is industrial FDI. If this is for services sector, this is non-industrial FDI. So I think that was all the detail regarding the different types of a foreign direct investment. In this video lecture we have talked about theories of foreign direct investment, and after that we have completely talked about the types of FDI as well. And this was all the needed detail. And regarding the India's stance on the FDI, I think we have gone through from many of the times now. And still, if something is left, obviously we shall be providing you the video lectures for the PDF notes of those as well. If you feel that something is still not covered, you can go through at your own, and if still you are not able to understand, then you can just simply ask us. So I think it was much more than needed. Regarding the next lecture, we shall be intimating you. If this is taken, then we shall be informing you. Thank you so much. This is Gurpal Singh from Gursur Education.